Thank you for entering the Kumite today, guys. Don't forget you can also find us on Breaker, Google Podcast, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, and of course Spotify. We are coming off of a freshly wrapped up Xtreme Knockout fight night. What a night of fights, and the XKO was once again provided the stage for warriors to come and show their true heart in the cage.
They also provided us with some tickets to come out and cover the event, which we are really thankful for. Thank you guys. You know, they helped out Sonora Media, and we've been able to put out a few good pieces of content. We're excited to show y'all what we have. It was a really fun night.
Yeah, we ended up going up to the balcony area, like above the cage, and kind of chilling at a reserved table before anybody got there because the reserve times were a little bit off.
We really didn't know it was reserved. They had like one small piece of paper just sitting on the table. So I was sitting there ready to set up the camera, getting it all going, and then they were like, "Oh, you can't be here." But it was really cool. We actually got to meet a pro MMA fighter, Logan Nail. Him and his fight was actually supposed to be, he was supposed to be fighting at XKO. He had one opponent cancel. He was ready to immediately jump in with another guy.
Heavyweight.
Into heavyweight, because I believe he fights at light heavyweight, and then he was willing to jump up to heavyweight to fight someone else. And even they canceled on him. I think people are scared of him. He looks like a tough guy.
Yeah, he looks pretty scary, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
And Logan Nail's also fought in Bellator, and he's fought in a lot of different organizations, LFA, XKO. So really exciting. But because his fight was canceled, they had extra reservations because some of the other people who were going to come to the event ended up not attending if he wasn't going to be fighting that night. So they had 2 tables reserved. They were nice enough to allow us to use one of the tables for our filming and covering of the event. Mm-hmm. So thank you guys for that.
Thank you again, of course. We definitely
truly a blessing.
Yeah, it's going to be. He's also caught our eye, so I'm hoping we can do some more about him later on. You know.
Yes.
But the event itself, 8 fights on the main card, 1 Muay Thai fight in them.
Trying to bring in the talent of Texas, guys. Mm-hmm. But the real fight we're going to be digging into here is going to be Will Starks versus Milko Tukto. Probably butchered that name, but
I think you got pretty close on that. That was good.
Maybe not too bad. This was the main event of the evening, and Will Starks is someone before the event that I actually had my eye on. Really high fight IQ.
I remember you saying that before we even got to the fight, to the event, that this guy, he was smart. He was going to be able to stay composed and really think out this fight on his feet, and I think he did exactly that. And I think even in his post-fight interview, he even said that was his strong suit, was his fight IQ.
His strongest attribute, yeah. And I agree with that entirely. He has a lot of potential, a lot of talent. Kind of reminds me of Mighty Mouse. Demetrius Johnson gives that a little bit of that Demetrius Johnson vibe. Mm-hmm. But to start off, I have to give credit to both of these fighters. Milko Tukto showed a lot of heart and very wholesomely kept his confidence, while Will Starks really shined through with his fight IQ. Both fighters had strong grappling, but Will Starks definitely had the advantage on the stand-up. Tukto has a fantastic chin and the wrestling threat to make his striking more dangerous, but Will Starks did a great job of reading him and not being where he was going. He was staying true with the jab, his footwork. He kept his hands up responsibly. Will likes to post and retreat, and will usually work on a shorter fighter. And I'm assuming with his intelligence, he'll know when not to use that post and retreat tactic and when to use it, because this isn't going to work on a longer fighter. Tukto is finding openings on Stark by throwing his power leg kick to the outside leg. This may be a factor later on in Starks' fights that could pose an issue, since he isn't always moving in and out and he has that long kind of karate stance. He likes to either retreat and reset the rhythm or come in with a counter or sniper shot and begin using more of a Muay Thai approach. He's either one or the other, so he's not always in and out like a lot of the karate guys, but he does have that karate guy style. Milko was looking to slip the jab and land those big hooks and overhands. He caught Starks' timing here and there and really landed some nice shots, while Starks was mostly looking to parry the jab, retreat, maybe parry the jab, plant, straight. Milko really started rolling well on Starks' straight punches. He started finding that timing, and he would roll right on the outside, and then his hooks became more dangerous because of that. Then Starks began timing knees and grabbing tight clinch to counter that, as well as mixing in uppercuts. So, these guys, throughout the fight, were constantly finding counters for what the other was doing and then having to recounter that. And really high-level stuff here. In the grappling exchanges, Milko was going for body locks and attempting to take Starks' back. However, Starks was very adamant about digging in that underhook and going for throws himself. He's very strong with his own overhook. He got a couple throws that night and actually ended up on top because of that strong overhook of his, a strong wizard. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I believe there was a moment in the fight that Tukto lands a big hook to the body. This really hurts Stark. He kind of stumbles, then quickly shoots for a takedown. This takedown looked a little bit out of desperation. And just a little side note here. Take a peek at these beautifully timed upward elbows. Mwah.
I feel like he had I feel like he got his inspiration from John Jones, because even one thing I noticed before the fight, he did John's little like sit down in the corner, stare him down, and then just jump up as soon as they say go, and then come in for the fight.
That does kind of remind me of John Jones and Conor McGregor, those kind of fighters that get real low.
And you say he comes in with those nasty elbows, like especially
he was finding
from,
time
like,
for
strikes. They're ridiculous.
He waited to see how Tukto was going to fight, and then he's like, okay, I can fit in elbows here, and I can fit in elbows here.
I also
elbows can be dangerous and leave you open.
I love this man's composure. All before the fight, he stayed straight face. All during the fights, he stayed just eyeing his opponent down. And even while multiple times the crowd was just cheering for Miko, he just stayed composed and kept his head in the game and actually came out with the win.
Yeah. He's very talented. And, it's funny you say that. Like, he does kind of remind me of John Jones's style-wise, with the post retreat, with the elbows, really quick to go into the tie clinch.
Yep. That fight IQ, people like that, John Jones, Floyd Mayweather, they know how to get in, get out, make their points, and win by decision a lot of the times. Not to say that he doesn't have the knockout power. I didn't see it that night, but it was going to be something that I'm looking forward to seeing eventually.
I think Milko just has that crazy...
he was taking some nasty shots, dude.
Knees, elbows, uppercuts,
great heart
hooks.
by Miko, just to be able to stay in it.
Yeah, no, that dude was. You could tell just by looking at it, that dude's hard as iron. But he even has that John Jones kind of Greco-Roman wrestling style in a lot of ways. He'll shoot for that blast double, old school wrestling style. Now, near the end of the fight, when Tukto was starting to get tired, Starks started feeling very comfortable with throwing the head kicks and teep kicks to the body, really starting to mix it up and kind of go wild, because I don't know if Tukto was getting tired, but he was definitely slowing down. Things were definitely starting to wear on him, and you could see a piece of his composure was starting to be whittled down a bit. The fight ultimately went to a decision, but that's not for the lack of these guys trying. These guys are both going all out until the very end, looking for that finish. Credit to both of these fantastic fighters for showing heart, fight IQ, and most of all, potential. Xtreme Knockout put on a fantastic night of fights, and we at the Kumite were blessed to be in attendance and to cover this event. Now, there are more factors that we could go into from here.
Yes, there's
a lot of fantastic fighters.
Man, that event was just so fun. And, it's one of those things where I'm going to kick myself in the butt forever. That first fight that we got there, I was a little bit late on setting up the camera, and I didn't get it. Started off with a flying sidekick, bro.
To the body,
just coming out of the gate. First fight, it was
both of their first fights,
immediately, too. Yeah, both first fights.
So they both had the
first
jitters
round.
A little bit,
Ooh, there's a lot of stuff that I wish we can cover, and I'm so hopeful that one day, XKO maybe lets us get in a little bit further into their organization, lets us cover some more. We would love to bring some light out to these fighters, to be able to make a prospect over everyone, because at this level, they're all prospects. You got to see which one is going to make it up there, but they're all fighting for that position.
Yeah.
We definitely, and that was another thing that Logan Nail was able to do. He gave us an interview, and him, like a lot of others, they're shooting for that UFC, and I think it would be great for us to find them in these rookie years, and let them, watch them grow.
There's actually a bunch of good fighters that fought in XKO that ended up in UFC. Kevin Holland's the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
There's more than that, though. But there are definitely talented fighters that are coming up from Texas. We're all seeing it. These guys got that gridiron spirit.
Yes, sir.
With that, we will go ahead and wrap up our thoughts on Xtreme Knockout Fight Night 54 on October 8th. If you like what we're doing, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I wish the best to each and every one of the fighters that went out there and put on a show for us. Remember, guys, this is not a sport. You don't play fight.